Hi there, Bill Hitchcock. Fantastic program for you, and it has taken me a while to put this one together. One of the most common things that I hear from folks is about the Marine Recreational Saltwater Fishing Survey. The number one thing I hear is, I've never been surveyed. Well, guess what? I've only been surveyed one time in ever. So I heard you. So I wanted and dug into it. I want to start off with things that we do know. It's not a survey, it's an actual fact. And that's how many licenses are sold in the recreational saltwater community here in North Carolina. And to be official, from the Division of Marine Fisheries, we have 1,079,168 licensed recreational saltwater fishermen. These people are the people used in surveys. This is where they get their information. Now, what caught my attention, and it's a wonderful brochure, the Division of Marine Fisheries put out a brochure of flounder ID, that we basically have 3 different types of flounders here in North Carolina, and they put out a brochure to show how to identify the 3 different types. We did a show on that, but this is what caught my attention and got me going in regards to finding out more about these surveys. And if anybody has watched any of my shows, you know if somebody throws out a number, I'm gonna, and it's not substantiated, I'm gonna investigate, I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna dig, I'm gonna find out what's going on. But in this brochure, this flounder brochure, it says the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries collects information on recreational fishing catch and effort through in-person and mail surveys. Staff talk to more than 20,000 anglers each year on the beach, at the piers, the boat ramps, to find out what they caught, what they threw back, and where and how they fished, and other information. 20,000, this is over 20,000. And again, going back to the number of recreational licenses sold at a little over 1 million, that's like 20% of the people fishing. And that's a high number, especially when I keep hearing, I haven't been surveyed. And again, me once. And to be quite honest with you, I was on a pier a few years back and I saw the division person doing the survey, and I went to him. He didn't come to me. So whatever. So that's what got things started for me. Cut it down to the quick, I want to put up this graph. This graph, by the way, are interviews by state over from, as you can see, 2016 to 2022. And it's Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Do you see that big old yellow line? That's North Carolina. Just roughly, we get surveyed, 3 times as many people are surveyed in North Carolina, recreational saltwater fishermen, than any of those other states mentioned. If you want to be picky, you know, that brochure said there's over 20,000 folks are surveyed in North Carolina, and when you look at the graph, it never reaches 20,000. It does go past 18,000. But I think by analogy, or demonstration rather, this shows the effort here in North Carolina that's being put forth in trying to collect data for the marine fisheries, which in turn determines things such as stock abundance, stock assessments, fisheries management plans, all that type of thing. So this is a very good thing. Now, I wanted to go a little history on the surveys. When they started, how they started, who's doing it, and all that kind of stuff. Let's start off with this thing. It's called the Coastal Angling Program and also the Marine Recreational Information Program. One's a state level, one's a federal level. Let's take a listen.
CAP is the Coastal Angling Program that oversees a variety of recreational fishing sampling and survey programs run by the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries. It includes mail, telephone, and online surveys of anglers who hold a coastal recreational fishing license, and in-person interviews of anglers at boat ramps, beaches, and piers. These surveys ask for information such as where an angler fished, how many fish they caught, what type of gear they used, and how many fish they threw back. CAP participates in the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Marine Recreational Information Program, or MRIP, a national fisheries survey program. MRIP surveys collect information on fishing effort and catch, including fish lengths and weights, and socioeconomic characteristics of recreational saltwater finfish fisheries. The data collected helps biologists and fisheries managers assess the health of fish populations and determine what size and bag limits or seasons are needed to ensure sustainable fish populations. The landings data and fish lengths and weights are critical in the development of stock assessments, the backbone of the state's fishery management plans.
All right, they make it very clear that the data that's collected by both the on the NOAA folks, the Marine, I don't know why I can never remember this, Marine Recreational Information Program, and also by the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries. This is what helps folks, the managers, the biologists, and whatnot to figure out stuff, stock assessments, and fishery management plans. Now, I do want to make mention, and I'm sure most people are well aware of, that here real soon, certain species of fish, it ain't going to be surveyed, you're going to have to report it. It was Session Law 2023-137, House Bill 600, North Carolina General Assembly. Starting in December, we're going to have to start reporting fish catches. And the 5 fish that you're going to have to report, this is not a survey, you're going to have to report these things, is speckled trout, gray trout, striper, drum, and flounder. So we're not going to have to really worry about surveys. It's going to have to be reported. So let's move on forward. A little history. I love stuff like this, on how the surveys were done. Let's take a listen.
In 1979, the Coastal Household Telephone Survey began to collect data about fishing effort by dialing a random sample of residential households with landline-based telephones in Hawaii and along the Atlantic and Gulf coasts. According to estimates from the 2018 National Health Interview Survey, more than half of all American homes don't have landline phones. Among homes with landline and wireless phones, 42% receive all or almost all of their calls on a mobile device. In other words, 15% of American homes can be considered wireless mostly, and 70% have effectively excluded themselves from being sampled by landline-based telephone surveys. The Coastal Household Telephone Survey contacted households without prior notice, asked initial respondents a series of screener questions to determine whether anyone in the household fished during the 2-month reference. WAVE and expected initial survey respondents to immediately describe household-level fishing activity without the benefit of memory cues. Most initial respondents were women, who were much less likely to report household-level fishing activity than men. Under this gatekeeper effect, the people who were answering our calls did not always accurately report, and in many cases underreported their household's fishing effort.
The Coastal Household Telephone Survey, which began in 1979. Here are, I don't know if it was evident in what we just saw, but here are some of the fallacies of that telephone survey, and this is how they first started surveying folks, is that it was random. They didn't know if you fished or not. They just got telephone numbers and called. You might not, they lucked into somebody who did saltwater fish, and when they got a household that they lucked into that somebody did saltwater fish, they might not have, the fisherman might not have been there. Somebody else could have answered the phone. The other situation is that you're put on the spot. You might not have been fishing for a couple of months, and now they're going to start asking you questions. Oh, what? Was it here? Was it there? Did I catch this? Where was I? What's going on? So that was one of the problems. And they're very well aware of these problems that they encountered. And I want to go over this. It's a self-reported data collected through retrospective recall of past events, which is what's happening when they're surveying you with any survey. There are recall errors, and they're typically classified as either telescoping or omission error. Telescoping occurs when a respondent misplaces an event in time, usually placing the event more recently in time than it actually occurred. Now, these folks were calling up and asking for specific time periods. I'll just make this up, say the month of May. And what was happening with this telescoping is either backwards or forwards, people were recalling things that happened in June, or maybe recalling things that happened in April and brought it into that May time period. The other problem, which at 65 I suffer a lot with, is omission error or recall decay, and that's just simply you forget. And you can see the difficulties with that off that old method of surveying, the telephone surveying of just random, just on the spot. Yeah, it was 6 fish. Was it 8 days? No, 9 days. Bob, what was? That's the kind of thing that was going on, and the surveying folks are well aware of that. So here's what they've done. Some pilot studies. They've tested some new methods. telephone survey that was used with fishing license information, a dual frame telephone survey that used fishing license information in random digit dialing like they did before, a dual frame mail survey, and a dual frame mixed mode telephone mail survey, and finally a mail survey whose design was revised in an effort to address weaknesses identified in prior studies. And in fact, in 2024, when we're making this, they're completing yet another one that they're going to institute on a permanent basis. Now, check this out. With this new survey method, they're backtracking. They're taking the information going back to 1981, and once our calibration model was peer-reviewed and approved, we converted our effort estimates dating back to 1981 to the scale of the present method. This is what's so cool. It says, for stocks assessed to date, the increase in effort from the survey in historical catch estimates has generally resulted in a retrospective increase in estimates of fish stock abundance, especially for those fisheries with large recreational components. So when they're taking the new methodology and applying it to the old information, they're finding out that there was greater fish stocks. That's good news, isn't it? This is a summary of what's going on with the licenses that they're now contacting through mail survey, the license holders. It's not this random telephone mess. The surveying method, I've got a printout here that I showed you earlier with the graph that North Carolina is the #1 on the East Coast, at least, surveyed state by 2 to 3 times. So although it's not, it doesn't show 20,000 here, it shows over 18,000 in a lot of years. It is a very good methodology. And by the end of this year, they're going to institute a brand new dyed and wool tested mail survey. One thing I do want to bring up for us. I did several television shows with Jimmy Price out of Southport, North Carolina. Well known as a flounder fisherman, well known as a speckled trout fisherman. Did several TV shows with him, and in fact, I produced 2 different how-to videos with him. And one of the things that Jimmy talked about doing is he kept a log, just on his own accord, the who, what, where, when, why, and how of every fishing trip. And he would refer to that because things do go in cycles, things do repeat. And so he was able to track these things. I used to do that off of one of my live daily TV shows. I kept every daily fishing report, every daily weather report, every daily oceanographic atmospheric report, and was able to refer to them as years goes by to understand what's going on, when to fish, where to fish, how to fish. I highly encourage everybody to do that, if anything, for your own sake, for your own fishing edification. It will help and improve what you're doing, so that if 20% of the people are getting surveyed, you're going to have that information on hand, and you can actually and accurately report your experiences on the water, which in turn is going to help with the fisheries managers and biologists to accurately do their stuff. So anyway, Bill Hitchcock, love to hear from you. BillHitchcock@mail.com, BillHitchcock@mail.com, BillHitchcock@mail.com. Yes, you can post on YouTube, but the greater chance of me seeing it is if you email me. Also, don't forget to like this channel. The YouTube algorithms will see that you have liked this saltwater type of program and will then refer other programs to you as well. So anything that you like, whether it's fishing, news, sports, weather, music, whatever, like it, and YouTube will suggest other content that is similar to it. I'm out of breath. Bill Hitchcock. Until next time, see ya.